Good time of the day. Thank you for everyone to take time for this talk. My name is Alexander. Uh, I lead safety projects at Toloka AI. Let me first introduce our company, and then I will talk about safety testing of AI agents. So Toloka, we are data partner for companies that develop Gen AI models and Gen AI products. We supply data for post-training stages mostly, fine-tuning, RLHF, evaluation, red teaming services. We do it mostly using humans, enriching them with automation when needed. So at the core of our business is a pool of people, experts ranging from the workers, like simple annotation workers, to highly qualified experts with domain expertise, and the technology that is built around it to control the quality and the scale of data production. We work with major model producers, with big tech companies, with Gen AI startups and scale-ups, and with companies who apply Gen AI within their business. We do quite a lot of work with safety. And safety is a critical area of AI development. A lot of work is being done across the industry. Papers are being published regularly, but overall, safety, especially safety evaluations, are far from being solved. And that's because it's a complex problem. Safety is always slightly lagging behind the overall industry development since companies push the products and features to release, and safety always has to catch up. And second reason is that it's a complex problem. So the threats can come from different directions, and we need to consider all of that in the evaluation. So therefore, the companies typically end up not only using the available benchmarks, but also developing their own data sets. And this is what we do. We do three types of work. We work with annotation of the sensitive content, evaluation and red teaming services, building data sets, and doing the red teaming over the course of a couple of weeks. And what I want to do today is to share some challenges and examples of that we face when we work with the safety evaluation of the edge agents. So the set of major LLM players stabilized last year, few big model developers, and now what happens now is that tech companies and the new entrants really double down on the agents based on the existing Gen AI models. So those are computer use agents, which would interact with laptops, coding agents that are already getting quite widespread, enterprise agents interacting with applications, so the different types of those. And for us as a data provider, that creates a new, like a whole new layer of complexity. We have been doing data for more than 10 years. We started as a data annotation for the classic machine learning, where the human input was a simple human judgment for classification tasks and so on, which later turned into the data for Gen AI, for developing these chat LLMs with different modalities, where it's not only human judgment, but also the tasks become much more complex, and there is a need for a highly qualified domain expertise to solve a given problem or build an evaluation. And now with agents, this creates the third aspect, which is the technical complexity and the infrastructure required to even run an agent and to design the environment in which an agent operates. So this really creates this whole new set of challenges on the infrastructure side and increases the requirements for the humans that are involved, much more technical expertise required to conduct such testing. And what I want to do is I will share one example in detail of the projects that we have done. diversity of all the different projects that can be done for agent evaluations, and I will summarize it in the challenges and how we approach to building our own tooling for these tasks. I will start with the first example. This is an example of safety testing of a computer use agent. Computer use agent takes a user prompt as an input. It operates like a laptop or a virtual machine, which has capabilities to use software. Typically, it's web browsing, some document operations, can be emails, can be working with tables. And having these web pages, these documents, all of them create a new surfaces of an attack. When testing the text chat model, we really play with the prompts. Here, multiple surfaces of these attacks has to be tested, for example, for prompt injection. And the example here on the page is the user prompt would be explore the website. The website, in this example, would be very clearly designed by a malicious user who instructs the agent to go into the browser settings, copy the secure cookie, and submit it to the form on the website. And then agent performs sets of actions. We call it trajectory that we need to evaluate. So in this situation, agent falls into this trap, goes into the cookies, and submits it to the form. So this gives a sense of a structure of this data. It's same as in the GenAI evaluation, starts with the usual user prompt, but then what we need to do is we need to describe and design the environment, like the precise websites that agent sees and the set of documents that exist on the laptop. And then we need to run and evaluate the trajectory. And this also can be done in different ways. It can be human evaluating these logs. It can be an automated evaluation of whether the agent submitted the form or not. And if agent did it, then this case would be considered a failure. In this project, we have done a data set of such tests, created more than 1,000. Within the 1,000, we covered a very diverse set of different risks that need to be considered. The directions of attacks, whether it's coming from the environment, such as prompt injection, whether it's coming from the user, such as malicious use of an agent, if agent performs dangerous mistakes, all of those, and the different surfaces, so diverse set of test cases. And then the question is the infrastructure. There are two questions here. Is one, how evaluation is done? And in our situation, we have created an automated evaluation of each of the test cases. So each of the test cases contain the script which would work and check whether something happened in the environment, which would manifest that the test result was unsuccessful and the agent performed something unsafe. And the second question is, how do we want to run these tests? We can run them online with agent being able to access internet and go to this website, or we can run them offline in isolated environments, which can be rerun and like not connected to internet. In this situation, every test case was packaged as an offline container, which made it possible to use it for training and so on. And on the next page, I wanted to show a few more examples of the projects that we are doing with agents in the last months. We started with computer use. For such agent, the environment would consist of the content of the documents, files, some websites which can be manipulated for regular evaluation. You can work with regular websites. When testing, for example, agents working through MCP, interacting with some communication methods, we would need to create a realistic the workplace data. If you work with the agent who work with Slack and email and Google Documents, we would create the corpora of messages, of emails, of the documents. If one is building coding agent, then the set of repositories need to be collected. It can be some variation of the existing benchmarks, it can be the repositories from different purposes, and each of those needs to be made ready for testing and to create evaluations on top of it. For enterprise agents, those will be the enterprise software instances to test the Salesforce data or Confluence data. One would need to create a data in the same structure and potentially even have an instance of such software to be installed and be available for agents to interact with. Another example would be training the PI classifier. In this situation, we would need to create a corpora of documents, both realistic and containing specific scenarios of mentioning some types of data, types of document, so that we can use it to evaluate the performance of the classifiers. And the conclusion that I want to make based on this is that in order to evaluate a agent for a specific use case, one needs to essentially model build some virtual reality around this use case, the whole environment that goes around it. If it's a user laptop, it is the content. If we talk about the agents operating in the B2B environment, that would be a virtual company. And if you doing this, you would essentially recreate a small virtual company. You would start with the organization, with building the set of teams, the name of the company that will be needed, data operates some workflows between them. One would create the software that needs to be interacted with, like a Salesforce, Jira, that will be filled with this data, and might have a need to develop some domain-specific applications if there is no industry standard available here. And to fill it with data, also can be a mix of methods. It can be pre-populated with some synthetically generated data. Experts would be required at this stage already to design it in the right way, to design the data connections and design the synthetics. In order to put the, for example, safety evaluations data points on top of that, to plant the prompt injection into the set of Slack messages that already exist. And if we want to have a realistic logs, this all needs to be happening through the instance of this software. And to produce the data set, we would need a process to control the data points and to get the high quality data and getting the domain experts for these tasks. For us, the last part is well known. This has been our core capability over the last 10 years to source the domain experts, to build the pipelines of data production, controlling quality, and getting the outputs data set. The first two are new. We are building the library of different companies across different industries, across different tools with data sets, which are available either like off the shelf or where we can get quick variation of an existing data like in a matter of days, or creating a new environment, creating a new data from scratch as per requirements in a matter of several weeks. That was everything I wanted to share. And I'm happy to take the questions, and please do reach out if you want to discuss any of this in more detail. Yeah, I have a question. I'll go through the questions in the Q&A. Do you have some framework to evaluate security/vulnerabilities of an agent or a system of agents? It's a good question. Yes, I would say typically we end up developing the framework, customizing it for every specific project, separately. But we always use but we have a starting point for it, and we need frameworks on a number of dimensions. So what we typically do, we start within the safety. We start with classifying the big vectors into 3 buckets. It's prompt injections, dangerous mistakes, and the malicious use, where the prompt injection is safe user, unsafe environment, which is manipulated by potentially malicious user. Malicious use is unsafe user interacting with agent with some malicious purpose, and unsafe mistakes would be safe user interacting with a safe environment in some corner cases, which might result in unsafe outcome, like such as data exfiltration or something like this. Then within those, we would typically use a set of frameworks to classify the surfaces. Like, for example, in computer use, those would be like website-based, document-based, all the different types of surfaces to be covered by user. In other situations, like in the coding, it will be different. And then we would design attack, typically starting from the user again. So we would define the user intent, some classes of the environment that the user needs, and the outcome. Yeah, and I think the third important classification is on the outcomes. We would work for a specific use case to classify the risky outcomes, so that also we can ensure the coverage, so that we build tests to test for like data exfiltration separately for some malicious code usage, and so on. Next question, what about data leaks using agent? I will try to, the question reads, what about data leaks using agent? I will, please correct me if I got the question wrong. I think the data exfiltration, data leak is one of the key risks that we test for. So in most of the data sets that we develop, this is a specific category that we build, and we ensure, like, we test for different situations where the data leakage can happen. It can be like we're talking that data exfiltration, and then we would follow like the framework we just described above. For this risk outcome, we would consider different user scenarios, different mapping of a user scenario to environment. We will populate the environment with some situation which might enable a data leak. Say it can be like some corner case in a user prompt, which triggers a data leakage when the agent sends out an email, or something else. So this is an important risk category that we always put as a separate bucket of work. If there are no other questions, I want to thank everyone for participation. Please do connect. I will put my LinkedIn link to the chat, and have a good time of the day.